Hey, it's Wes, and we have a pleasant surprise of a lens today. This is the Yongnuo 85 1.8S, their latest version of their 85mm lens. And I never thought that I would say this, but this Yongnuo is a banger. Let's get into it, as always, starting with the build quality. This is a mostly metal lens with a bit of plastic. It is surprisingly compact here. Ultra compact back cap. We have a weather sealing gasket around the back. This is a weather sealed lens. Front cap, look how small this thing is. Let me compare something here. This is the Viltrox 50mm 1.8. It is almost the exact same size. This is a 50. For a more comparable lens, here is the Viltrox 85 1.8. What? What? No way. Look how much smaller this thing is. This is a full frame lens. I don't know what's going on here. Am I taking crazy pills? The switches feel a little bit cheap. Not great tactility, very plasticky. The focus ring. But overall, feels good, feels solid in the hand, and is a weather sealed lens. The lens hood, again, feels like cheap plastic, but it snaps on great. A lot of these cheap plastic lens hoods just fall off. This one does not. And we have a little weather-sealed USB-C port, which we'll talk about more a little later. Very hard to get out. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 for build quality. I have no complaints here, really. And I have used this in the rain already. This video is brought to you by Dossier. What? I've had many offers for channel sponsors in the past, and I didn't want to create a conflict of interest. And boy, have some of those offers been aggressive. But when Dossier got a hold of me, I was relieved because there is obviously no conflict of interest here. I cannot put this on my camera, but I can put it on me at photo shoots and events and weddings, and boy do I ever. I might have a bit of a problem. I do use cologne all the time. I buy it. I try out different things because I like to smell good. As I said before, I go to a lot of weddings and events and so forth, and you are in close quarters on hot days, in sometimes unfortunate circumstances, and you want to smell good. You don't want people to feel weird being close to you. And so, there is always one of these in my bag when I'm away for a long shoot like that. With Dossier, you don't have to pay those big fashion brand prices. It's direct to consumer. There are comparable scents to other things that you might be familiar with. You can go in and go through your scent profile, your selector, and figure out what works for you. Each bottle is $50, which is significantly less than you could be paying for a fashion brand. They have tons and tons of selection, so if you are picky and you're not sure what you want, you can browse through and tell them what you like in their system and figure out something that works for you. And best of all, for me, look at this. It has magnets, and I am a sucker for magnets. I didn't know that before I got involved here. Love that. For me, I chose the Ambery Mint, which is more of an evening winter scent, and the Woody Sandalwood because that was one of their more popular ones. It's a bit lighter, more universal, and more versatile. I have to say I prefer the Ambery Mint. This one's really my jam. Well, it's not jam, it's Ambery Mint. But anyway, I digress. So if you want to pick up some Dossier, there's a link down in the description below, which will help support this channel, and I would greatly appreciate you. And thanks to Dossier for supporting this channel. So we'll move on to handling and usability. The big handling win on this is that it is so small and light, especially compared to its direct competition, the Viltrox 85. It is much lighter on the camera, and it kind of disappears. It has your custom function button, AF/MF switch, I love to see that. Doesn't have an aperture ring, which I personally don't really care about. It has a hidden USB-C port for firmware upgrades, love that, it's the drag and drop style. Again, I said the lens hood snaps on very solidly. So the only thing we're really missing is an aperture ring, which doesn't bother me that much, but I have to take a point away for it for whatever reason, so it's a 9.5 out of 10 for handling and usability. A very, very usable lens. Image quality. This is where I expected things to take a serious hit, and we didn't. I'm kind of shocked here. Chromatic aberration, very well controlled. Almost none to be seen in the bokeh. The flaring, very well controlled. Color reproduction is very good but not excellent. Sharpness, it is perfectly usable wide open. Sharpens up a bit as you stop it down, but not as much as a lot of lenses do, so it's quite good when it's stopped down, but it's not amazing. It is just a little bit sharper than the Viltrox though. Not quite as sharp as the Sony 85 1.8 however. But wide open, it is probably sharper than the 85 G Master is at 1.4, which is no surprise. That lens is getting a little tired. Again, flare resistance is good. It doesn't wash out nearly as easily as a lot of cheaper lenses do. You have a little vignetting wide open and almost none once it's stopped down. I have to give this an 8.5 out of 10 for image quality. It is solid, this tiny little lens. Image character. This gives some very smooth backgrounds. They are not nervous or weird. And if we have a close look at our cat's eye bokeh test, we get some solid bokeh wide open. However, yeah, things square off very quickly. The aperture blades are not very well rounded. And so as soon as you stop down from 1.8, where you have a lot of cat's eyeing and footballing, you start to see some hard edges. Now the bokeh itself though is very neutral. Not a lot of strong edging going on, not much onion ringing. So overall, this somehow doesn't get terribly busy in the background, but it doesn't stay smooth and round at all times. Flaring tends to be kind of uninteresting. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. It is very good, especially wide open, but when you stop it down, things aren't quite as nice. Focusing performance. Again, very surprised. A lot of third-party lenses that I tried, the focus points don't really work beyond the center of the lens very well. This one, it works the whole way around. Don't ask me how they pulled that off. It is reasonably fast, not crazy fast. Face and eye AF work just as well as first-party lenses. It also works quite well in low light. Chip is spoofing the Sony 85 1.8. It's not exactly legit, which is a little bit disappointing. It still gives you solid performance, 8.5 out of 10. It's better focusing than the Sony 85 G Master. Value, this is where we expect to do well, but with such a solid performance from this lens, maybe not. This comes in at $345. The Mikey, which I have here but I can't find at the moment, terrible autofocus, worse image quality, much more dreamy however, comes in at $200. So you can do 85 for less. The Viltrox is $400. There's a Tokina, which is kind of a copy of the Viltrox for $500, and the Sony 85 1.8 for $600. So I would say right now, unequivocally, this is the value 85 1.8 lens for Sony. If you're looking for an 85 1.8 and you're even remotely just starting out, this is the one to buy, bar none, easy. Such an easy recommendation. I am really surprised. Yongnuo really nailed it with this lens. If you want to pick one up, we have links down in the description below. If you want to see more and high resolution image samples, there will be a link in the description below to my website to check those out. Then you can pixel peep for yourself. So for value, this is a 9 out of 10. You can do it for less, but not with a lens of comparable quality by any means. That gives us a total of 87.5. Let's see where that lands at. Oh, this is number 4 on the West Scores spreadsheet. That is astonishing. Thank you, Yongnuo, for making a lens that makes photography more accessible. Honestly, it's a big deal to be able to spend less money and still get professional results for someone starting out. Say they buy a used A7 III, they buy this lens, you have phenomenal quality portraits that you can start your business with. That's great. Let's go take some photos.